Good morning.
Good morning. Cheers.
Are you drinking coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I had to get some coffee this morning. How you doing?
Good.
Nervous?
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm always nervous too when I'm doing this. I see the hoodie. Looking good.
Yeah.
Look, I got mine on too.
I wanted to wear the black or the gray one.
Nah, that's perfect. The gray one's perfect.
Yeah. So how are you?
Maintaining. I'm good. Can't complain.
Yeah.
I wanted a January vet spotlight to be like, a good one to start the year off kind of fresh. And I think like you're the perfect person to start the year off, just because I don't have too many military friends that have actually become family to me. You know what I mean? I know your story. I know you come from humble beginnings, and I know you have it like an up and down, not just in your personal life but in the military. So I kind of just wanted you to share your story a little bit. Just talk about your experiences. What was your main reason for joining the military? Like what was that decision making point where you were like, you know what, I'm gonna go and do this?
Um, Independence.
Okay.
Independence, and knowing that you can do something that a lot of people don't think you can do.
Mm-hmm.
No, me especially coming from an Asian family.
Mm-hmm.
No, especially in the Philippines. They expect you to be a nurse and a doctor, or marry someone that's Filipino,
Yeah.
or someone that's successful. But to me, it was more, have everything to give me, coming from the Philippines, and they're well off. But then when you're given everything, how do you learn to grow? And I wanted to grow, not just because I wanted to do like dumb stuff, or in high school I just was so sheltered and I didn't know so many things, and all I wanted was to earn my own money, not just given to me. To It's like the fruits of your labor. I know you're a hardworking man, so like you know how that is. That's why you are the way inside and outside of your household. And I wanted that because I came from nothing in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
Like coming to America and given everything, like I didn't have to like look for my food.
Yeah.
Like everything was given to me: a nice car, a nice home, a nice family. So I couldn't. It was hard to transition from the Philippines to America, and then my dad was so strict, and I didn't, because I wanted like the freedom that you think, oh, I want to do this, I want to party. I wanted to get a job,
right?
And you don't need a job,
Yeah.
I do need a job, but I think getting a job, it's just your personal growth to grow, to make mistakes. But I think the military gave me that. It wasn't always like pretty.
Yeah.
60% of the 12 years I served hard, but I was like I made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
And I don't think that anyone can say that they didn't make any mistakes. I think we could always be, better.
Yeah.
But the way that I learned was through those mistakes, and I wouldn't be sitting here right now,
right,
comfortably, while my husband works, and I wouldn't be sitting pretty and comfortable and be able to spend time with my family. So, with my girl especially. So, independence is the answer to your question. And not freedom, because I am free.
Uh-huh.
I'm a free man, but independence is the key, and growth. Independence and growth is why I joined the military. And I wanted to get my hands held or carried.
Right.
Through success, because that's what would have happened, especially in a family coming from mine. And I know a lot of like Asian men and women relate to that. So when we talk about like the dynamics of like culture,
Right.
So.
Right. I completely agree. In order to grow, you're gonna have to go through, a lot of you're gonna have to go through a lot of hardships. Why did you choose Army? Like you could have went to like Air Force, Navy. Why did you choose the Army?
That's true.
Huh? Yeah.
The real truth.
Yeah.
Okay. So growing up in El Monte, California, I was surrounded by Asians and Mexicans, right?
Okay.
I haven't saw any like Caucasians or blacks, right?
Uh-huh.
So I always try to be like, I'm not going to be the typical Asian. So like all the Filipinos first joined the Air Force or the Navy, right?
Wow.
So like I was like, no, I'm different. I'm different. So like even the way I dress, I try to be different.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of my static friends, like they taught me the things that I knew outside of the house, you know. And I said, I'm joining. I can't join the Marines.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't make it. The Navy, I'm not too good with the sea. Have really bad motion sickness.
Yeah.
The Air Force, actually, I did think about the Air Force, but my eyesight was so bad that it's a no-go. They're a lot more stricter when it comes to that.
Yeah.
You know, the jobs that you have to do in the Air Force. But the Army, you know, not that they always say the Army will take anyone. You know, but
it's so true.
I'm glad the Army took me because, well, I was already certified. I had just graduated college for pharmacy tech because I wanted to become a pharmacist.
Okay.
I went to a tech school because I wanted to pay for my own college because my dad and my mom were like, you need to just be this and that. And I was like, well, no, I'm going to pay for my own stuff.
Right.
Like, so then I'm thinking in my young, immature head, like I didn't know anything about bills or anything because everything was paid for, right? Like,
yeah.
I thought that if I became a pharmacy tech, then I would be able to pay for college. Well, my parents never really, my dad didn't go to college, so he doesn't know the expenses of that in that time, you know, around 2000. Like,
right.
My mom went to the Philippines for her college, so she didn't know she comes from a wealthy family.
Right.
So I didn't have that guidance.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm thinking I'm going to be able to afford it.
Yeah.
So I left home at 18 and I finished college, and then I found out about the military. I was homeless for a little bit. I just lived from friend's house to friend's house for a whole year. And I didn't know anything about the military, and then I found out about it, and then I went, and I said, I just need to get out of here. I don't want to be a failure.
Right.
So I joined the Army, and I just thought it was a good balance for what it needed. So,
yeah, I was going to ask you that too. Did you have like family members or relatives, or you just...
No.
Wow.
I'm the first, especially the first one. It's a huge deal, and my dad found out that I was trying to join. At that time, you know, AOL.
America Online, yep. I remember.
Yeah.
You got mail.
I was in the library, and I got all these messages from my dad, and he was like, I will change, and I will let you do this and that. I will give you your car.
Mm-hmm.
You my cell phone. But in my head, I'm like, I was so stubborn, and I still am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like you, Omar. You know, like it's hard, even though I know it's going to be a struggle. You want to feel that you know, the fruits of your.
Yeah, you want to feel that sense of like accomplishment and pride that you. Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want this to be given to me all the time, and I think that my parents are like, why?
Right.
You know, I couldn't. And so the Army was, actually them all Army. Like even my kids, like JL and Shyla, like they, you know, we talk about the military, and it's so. My husband says if they're gonna join ever in their lives, it's gonna be the Air Force. But I'm like in the heart, I'm like Army.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are Army to the core. You gotta go Army.
I know I am. My brother-in-law is in the Navy SEAL, and then my husband's Army, and I'll have a lot of friends in the Air Force, and the Air Force really do take care of their people, but you know, it's like a football team, you know, you're like, yeah.
Well, the thing is, you know, based off like you guys experiencing it, you can actually prepare them, you know, because I know I've served with people that have like relatives that are joining, and they're like, oh no, he's not coming in enlisted. And I already told him about that. He's got to come in an officer, and they kind of like warn them, and they already know, you know, different things that you had to go through to learn the hard way not to do. You see what I'm saying? So.
Or what MOS they should choose, right?
Exactly.
That's gonna benefit. Like you and me didn't have that because our parents. You know, you come from another country too. Like they don't know. Like so, like with us, I think JL and Halasia's generation and Shiloh's, our kids' generation, is gonna be a better, more prepared type of generation because of us.
Yep.
Like, because we have made mistakes and then we have continuously learned. And then you know so many people that can help you set your kids up.
Right.
And for me, the same, you know, and I think that's what, whether it's Army or Air Force or Navy or Coast Guard or Marines, I mean, we just know, you know what I mean? We just know what, you know, whether they're, I mean, yeah, it's nice to make money in the officer side of the house because of retirement, right?
Right.
But then you got people like your November spotlight, you know,
Yeah.
Like you said something about stripes and bars.
Yeah.
Thing like that was like, you're right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I definitely agree with what he said. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
if you know, your other viewers have watched that, they definitely need to listen to what he has to say about the bars and the stripes because it's a strong statement he made. You know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I'm all Army.
Yeah, all Army all the way. What was your MOS when you came in?
I was a pharmacy tech.
The whole entire time?
In the medical field. The reason why I went with that is because also I chose it because why not choose a job that you just finished and did
Right.
really, and I was already nationally certified. So then a month later I signed those papers and then they had made a deal with me and they said if you do this then we'll grant you your MOS, meaning like you need to you don't have to go through AIT. So then I went from basic training and it's straight to my assignment.
Oh wow, for real?
Yeah, so a lot of like, so if I was to ever become a recruiter or my husband is thinking about recruiting,
okay,
like to use our experiences or other people's experiences along the way that along the time that we've served as a family, a military family, and active duty to guide those. I know the recruiters have to make numbers,
right?
But I recruiting in a way to set these kids up, their kids,
right?
You know, to set them up for success. You know, because that one recruiter can change their whole life. So instead of like, oh yeah, you should do this and that, and just to fill the numbers, but I think there's certain individuals that are just because I'm a pharmacy tech, it doesn't mean that I'm better than I don't know a cook or a driver, right?
Yeah.
Because they change their MOS later on. But I was happy to be in the medical field, but I kind of wish I also was like now I get offered jobs at the pharmacy here as a GS. It's like I don't want to do it because I want to do something else that can expand my knowledge.
Yeah.
Like,
outside the military, right?
Yeah. So I know I'm good at a lot of things, but I wish that I could have done more. But now, I got to wait for COVID to be over.
Yeah, right.
to even be, up to 2021, but,
right.
For the best.
Yeah.
But pharmacy tech, being in the medical field is always good. If I was to choose for my kids, which I want, they're going to do what they want. Medical field is not bad also because, deployments, we don't have to deploy as much. And then certain like you're gone like almost every year.
Speaking of deployment, so I know you don't have any deployments.
No?
So like, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like you didn't accomplish anything, or do you feel like less of a soldier because you didn't deploy?
You do?
So we were in the same unit when 10th PSB was deploying. Remember?
Yep.
And I was supposed to deploy with you guys, and there are certain things that it was a choice between. At that time, I was in a bad place. Made a lot of mistakes. I had to between the girls, get married together. I know all of there's a lot of people out there. Whoever watches this,
yeah,
that were either divorced, were separated,
yeah,
or single.
Yeah.
But I'm one of the low percentage that made it through that, me and my husband. Deployment, I had to choose between happily, well, your children, you know.
Right.
Yes, like the children are forever, but your spouse is temporary. They can be temporary, you know.
Yeah.
But the kids will always be your kids, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to deploy. That's all I wanted for so many years.
Yeah.
And I felt, sometimes I feel like I didn't want to do this interview because if I was asked that question, I'd feel ashamed.
I don't think you should be though, because at the end of the day, like I tell people all the time, I've been in several infantry units, right? And infantry guys, they think they're it. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing else better than being an infantryman because front line and they're the first to go in and they're always deploying and they think they hold it down for everybody. But I always remind them that everybody's MOS, everybody's job comes together to make this big thing called the Army work. You see what I'm saying? So even with you not deploying, because there's a lot of people that don't deploy. I've seen first sergeants that never deploy, sergeant majors. Even with you not deploying, you still have to pull some type of weight in order to make everything else function. Does that make sense?
Right, exactly. So I never look at deployments as
you not pulling your weight. I never look at that from the very beginning, and I was never in a rush to deploy myself. Like I never I have to deploy. Of course, it's cool to have a patch and be like, all right, you've earned that patch and you deployed, right? But yeah, right. But at the end of the day, like once you go through the motions and
you see the stuff that happens during deployments and how it affects people mentally sometimes for the rest of their lives, it's one of those things you should be humbled that you actually got the opportunity to go and make it back. But then you can't judge other people because they didn't get the opportunity because they still have to pull weight because the Army doesn't stop. You know what I mean? The Army doesn't stop whether you're deployed or not. You still have stuff that has to be handled on the rear. So, I don't think you should be ashamed. I don't think it's a bad thing. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Like everybody's experiences are different. You know what I'm saying? So.
This is what I was looking forward, and then being from another country, and I actually became a citizen the day of my birthday here at West Point. I became a citizen at Ellis Island. That's
Hold on.
Huge...
So you became a citizen through the military?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So I'm a lot older than you are, so.
Maybe not.
So back in the days when I joined, you can, well, even now you can come in. I know one of my little cousins just joined and he's Filipino and he's not a citizen. You can join if you're not a citizen. Mm-hmm. But I got my citizenship. They had just changed it, and then they said they would, before you have to pay for all the fees to become a citizen. And then at that time they changed it. I was like, I gotta get on this. It's free now.
Yeah.
If you're active duty, they'll pay for everything, So I work. You just have to do an interview and do a couple of their requirements. How long you've been here, blah blah blah. And the Army. That's why no matter how many bad things happen to me in the Army, I owe it so much. I became a United States citizen. While I was serving, mm-hmm. and then in New York too, at that when I joined, the 9/11 had already happened.
Right.
So that's a huge deal.
Yeah.
It's so weird because I'm back here. We're here for compassion.
Where you started, right?
Oh man, I made a lot of mistakes here.
Yeah.
But a lot of memories at West Point. So
that's good. That actually goes into my next question. Like,
what were some of your first real challenges in the military? Like when you were you don't know how you're gonna do this, how you're gonna get through this.
No, I wasn't afraid of that. My dad was super strict, so I was ready. I just remember when I first joined, and the first day of basic training, they drop you off the bus, and then you put your head down in your rock.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
At that time, we were civilian clothes. I remember this, and then they tell you don't put your head up. They're yelling at you, and they say, you can't. But then I was still that's the norm for me. My dad is so strict, you can't never do anything right,
Right,
so.
Right.
I remember they had us drop off all our civilian stuff or bags that we didn't need because they're just gonna put it right at the closet.
Right.
I remember all these people crying because they're getting yelled at and they're doing the crab walk or the bear walk, and I'm like, why are you guys crying? Like, it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
not like they're like hitting us with sticks or bamboo sticks, and punishing us. It's just getting yelled at.
Right. Right.
I mean, what's the big deal? But at that time, I wasn't even like, I didn't watch movies like the movies that the
Show you like basic training and stuff like that.
anything. I didn't know anything. I didn't have any idea what was going to happen. I just did it, and then sometimes that's because you don't like overly prepare yourself emotionally and what are the challenges. Actually, basic training, like also tiny, and being Asian also, like they don't think you can do anything.
Right.
And but like I surprised a lot of people. I had one of the hardest drill sergeants, Staff Sergeant Morales.
Oh, you still remember his name?
Oh man,
he definitely left the impact on you.
Yeah, and I had a Green Beret drill sergeant too, and one guy. We had the best drill sergeants, and I admired them, and I wanted to like prove to them that I wasn't just small little,
Right.
So, and that's how that started, and I liked it.
Yeah.
I was a really fast runner, so I surprised them all, and proved to a lot of people that I'm not just some little girl, because at that time, we were still little boys and girls, when you first joined. 19, you think you know everything, and we don't, so.
Yeah.
Good experience.
That's good.
Actually leads right into my next question too. So if you had to give any advice to any, like a young female that's actually currently in the military or thinking about joining, like what would you tell them? Like a young female like that was similar to you in your position back then.
Okay, so whether it's a male or female, an individual, I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Focus on your own success. Don't worry about what other people can do for you and how they're going to help you. I think in general, if you want to be successful, whether you're in the military or not, your choice, your want, how bad do you want this? You're going to get it. Sometimes you worry about the other stuff outside of you, whether this person's going to help me become an officer.
Right.
We had this talk, right?
Yeah.
And they have their own lives, and they don't prove, right, with what they're going to do for you.
Exactly.
So for me, that was my downfall. Is I wanted people to tell me I'm good enough. And as a female in the military, we're always trying to prove that we can do what they can do.
Yeah. Right.
And I think we struggle that even outside the military. Like, there's so many things like, oh, yes, women can do anything. And look at the election now, right? You know what's coming.
Yeah, I know.
New world, 2021 is going to be different. You know, whether it's negative or positive, it's going to be different. And I'm, like, beyond excited to see what's going to happen. But I just think that to be successful in the military, you just focus on what you're doing. Yeah. Don't worry. Focus on, you have to have, like, how like in our bio when we go to the board, what's your short-term and long-term goals, right?
Yep.
We think we just, because I remember growing up and going to those boards and growing up as a E4, to an NCO, we just write those answers and then we say it, right?
Right.
How many of us didn't follow through on the long-term goal?
Yeah. Now, you're absolutely right.
Because then it goes to show you that a lot of people don't really make goals for themselves, right? Until the question's asked and you're like, oh.
But you look at the vet clothing store.
Yeah.
You had already, like, sometimes I think you're a little bit scattered brain because you have so much idea, Omar. Like, we have so much. Even as stay-home mom now, I have all these things that I need to accomplish, whether it's at home or outside of home. And we don't set those goals and deadlines.
Mm-hmm.
When you're brand new to the Army, and I think you make those deadlines, whether we finish school for the first year, associate's degree, or becoming an officer, because after that 4 years of service and enlisted, we can put in for a packet, right? Depending on your age and your requirements, if you can accomplish those, right? So I think it depends on your end goal, and I just think your deadline, focusing on what you want to do instead of worrying about the whole, because we always have to worry about the whole. I mean, the Army doesn't allow you not to do that because you have a job. They don't just let you quit,
Right.
And not quitting. There you go.
Not quitting.
But, because there's so many. I mean, to be truthful, I don't want to say I quit, but then I did quit because we had to make really tough decisions that affect. After you have children, it's not just all about you, and I know you know that. Like you decisions in your life, like if you can, if it's just you on one, you didn't have to worry about Wit or Nasiah and Alasia and Ria, like you would be right there, like doing whatever, right? Going year after year, getting those patches and accomplishing a lot, but then at the same time, it's a balance. Our family balances too. Imagine if you went down range and something was to happen to you. So your family on the ground, I think.
Now, I wouldn't necessarily call it quitting. I would just say probably the end of that chapter or the end of that situation. You know what I mean? And you should also be able. I mean, you should know sometimes like when something is like, this is the end. It's time to move on. Then you should kind of get that idea and be like, all right, I'm not really quitting, but it's time to move on to the next. As long as you're elevating yourself, I think it's fine.
That's why you should have worn your other shirt that says motivate.
Inspire, motivate. Yeah, actually, I haven't watched it yet. I just wore it the other day, like 2 days ago.
It's so positive. You're the most chill guy. Oh my God, you can't even get. I've never seen you mad.
Yeah,
the many years we've known each other. Like, I just want to make you mad one day, just to cross out. Like, okay, I made you mad.
Nah, I rarely get mad. I try not to get mad. I try to stay happy and positive.
Yeah, it doesn't help you have always this smile on your face, whether you're like super stressed about a situation at work or at home. It's like, oh my God, like nothing is, and that's why you're so approachable, because people think there's never anything wrong with you.
Yeah.
Only with me or people that know you deeply know there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, when I'm quiet. I try not to.
Because I feel like it's a waste. It's a waste of time because it's not really gonna change the situation. Because most of the time you're mad because of something that already happened. You know what I mean? So
you could either just move past it and do something about it and change it,
right?
Or just keep like wondering what you could have done. Which is a waste of time. But that's why I'm telling you, because like we've had our talks and stuff like that about motivating. Remember, you used to send me all those motivational
videos. Yeah.
Because I was so down, like, and they're like, okay, Mary, I'm gonna send you these videos that I watch to help me when I'm, in my in a place where I need those motivational. This really helped too, because whether it's church or those motivational quotes, but you got me, you had me listening to those things, and I was like, oh my God, I can't do something.
Nah, they work. They work. I do it all the time, even when I'm at the gym and I'm like, dragging and I don't really want to be there. Sometimes I'll go to YouTube and watch a motivational video, just quick 5 minutes, just something to like remind myself why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So
I think they help. So
my next question to you is where are you at now in your life?
What things are you doing now outside the military?
As you know, 2020 has been a bad year. I am now proud to say, I know sometimes I may not show it, but I am a proud stay-home mom right now.
Okay.
Right now. And I can get a job. I am fully confident that I can get a job, because, you meet people along the way. Oh, you'd be great at this, right?
Right.
Or I'm here in my basically hometown in New York, and I have friends that are in charge of certain departments. They're like, Mary, I want you to come work for me.
Right.
But I'm still in the same place as when I got out of the military and decided to either serve my country or serve my family.
Mm-hmm.
My husband and I had made a choice that right now, especially now with the pandemic and um, just everything that's going on.
Right.
It's stay put, because if we continue to try to move um, forward when it's not necessary, sometimes it's good to stay in place. And when things have, like the storm has calmed down, like when you move, it's just time and patience, right? You know, I struggle, like I've talked to you, like sometimes I'm like, I'm not doing anything. And then what do you always tell me? But you are, like, you and Deontay just tell me all the time, like, your job is the hardest job. You are everything in this home.
Right.
So I struggle because next year, 2021, October 16, I would have been retired veteran.
Yeah.
And I do get in my feelings, but I go back to what's important, which is my kids.
Yeah, I'm still listening. I'm gonna plug my computer up.
So I don't know. I'm getting ready to, after the pandemic. Well, I don't think it's going to completely be over, but thinking about doing my master's.
Okay.
I want to do school counseling. I'm a psych major, so I got all my college done while I was active duty, and that's one. Well, in the military, they pay for that, and take advantage. I know you're taking classes right now.
Yeah.
And back work and family, but that's what I did. And my husband's job has caused us to move a lot.
Okay.
We move every year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, I know.
You know that. Like,
I know.
You are like, where are you guys at now?
Yeah.
So we were in Germany before West Point only for a year and a half, and then now we're here. And then we're only here for compassionate, which is stabilized for a year. So next year we can move. It's like hard to get a job and have to move right away.
Consistently moving, yeah. Nah, I understand.
My husband always is so good about, like, babe, it's okay that you don't have a job.
Right.
Because we move so much. Like, he tells me that I'm like his support. One time he was telling a friend just recently during Christmas, like, Mary's like part of the family. So, like, I'm just so thankful. And that's nice to hear, because I sometimes I feel like I need to work, and I want to be able to say, yeah, I work here. I'm the successful woman, but I have to stay put until my time comes, because the girls are getting older,
it's completely fine. I think it's important that people see that
it's not just about having a job. That, you know what I'm saying? It's also about supporting the family, and then as long as I guess if you as long as you're pulling your weight and holding it in a different way, it doesn't necessarily have to mean you have to go clock in at a job every day. You know what I mean? Because taking care of the household, taking care of the kids, taking care of your husband, all that, it's a full-time job.
Don't get me wrong, like, even with me being home, being a veteran, and I can say that the VA, we all know this as veterans, they give you a pot of money. While you're active, if you're retired, once you retire, you have the 2 pots of money. Being a vet, our U.S. Army, the VA money.
Right.
And so blessed to have that, because there's so many people who cannot, like, especially now, like, I am getting a paycheck every month. They're to that, I'm not going to go in details, but we have our disabilities.
Right.
Veterans, and we struggle to get through those every day. I mean, I have the luxury of going to, since I'm a spouse, to get my physical therapy done. I know I can do it through the VA, but, like, I'm broken. Like, my feet, my hands need surgery, but I'm so blessed to become a veteran, to be a veteran, because it provides financial help, medical help. It's a huge thing. Those are the things that other people who haven't served, they don't have that. Yeah. And I'm just so blessed that I have that, because even if my husband was retired, I have my own, like, thing that takes care of me as an individual. And my kids were do what they got to do to be successful. But I have that luxury to be able to say, hey, the veterans, the VA says, you're a veteran, you deserve this amount of money, and you deserve this care, and I'm so thankful for that. And that's why, like, people, you don't have to just join because you don't know what to do with your lives.
Right.
I think people do it like and I'm glad that you think of me like that. Like, I did, even though I didn't come out the way that I wanted to come out being in the military. And I told you, like, I don't think I'm good enough to be in a video, but like, I'm happy that you look at it that way because, I mean, this is the realness. And I know many women that have gotten out for the reason of the family.
Mm-hmm.
I got a family care plan. Would have done something else, like, a lot of people medically retire. I could have definitely done that, but I wasn't educated enough to know about medical retirement.
Right.
You probably remind, like, the people that are out there still active duty, or people that think that you can just get out through family care plan.
Yeah.
There are rules. Once you get out of family care plan, there's certain things you cannot do if you want to come back in.
Right.
But it's knowledge is power. Like you always say, like when he tells me, it's like he's always watching these videos and always trying to like better himself and his knowledge. And he's like an old man, like something else, like or do something else other than just. But you're always trying knowledge, right?
Right.
Your knowledge is just if I knew all the things that my friends tell me now, I could do so much more. But like you said, make our mistakes, we grow from there, and we keep it moving.
Exactly.
So, but yeah,
How do you compare the veteran community to the active duty community, the military community? Because like the military community, the Army community is small, so and we have our challenges. We go through different things as soldiers. How do you compare the veteran community? Do you interact in the veteran community? Do you like run into other veterans? Like, what are those conversations like? What are those relationships like?
So, I will give you Oklahoma as a huge example.
Okay.
Live in Fort Hood, so I don't know the dynamics, but I know there's so many veterans in Fort Hood. I know so many people that retire there and just stay there because of the benefits of what the state has to offer.
Yeah, cost of living,
Or places that I had the experience of living there. Our question definitely pertains to that state, to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, because you go right outside the base, and it's like everybody's a veteran, right?
Right.
The comparison is that and it's not everywhere because it's different everywhere, but I think if you serve in the military for so many years, even like the ones that serve for 2 years, it's hard to take that out of you. Yeah. Like you do certain things, like you say certain work that are military term, and or like the time, right? How many times have you told? Whitney, I have an appointment at 1400.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you talking? Like it's like it's hard to take that out, but the difference is that you guys active duty just wear the uniform. Veterans, I think that there's ones that are like hardcore and then they work in this GS and then their jobs is still kind of the same as active duty. Sometimes they're like in the top of the food chain where they're training the active duty to do certain things because they're subject matter experts, right? Right. So just depending on what you decide to do. There's people that just like, I'm just gonna go and retire in Florida and be a vet and just drink margaritas all day long till I can't anymore, right? Yeah, right. But I think it's the difference is just wearing the uniform every day. And then depending on what job, like me, like I told you, I didn't want to do the same job as I was for 12 years. I wanted to do something completely different. Just depending on the life choices you make after the military, because you could either do like something completely different and then or the same thing, because there's plenty of people that are retiring and they're still working in the same department or the same area of field because money. If they're a GS-12 job and you're like
Yeah.
Why not? And it's a second retirement, right?
Right.
Um, but
So you would say they probably like, I guess when you conversate with other vets, you guys kind of like educate each other a little bit on.
and then that's how I actually got my ratings up, and that was like not even looking. You like the way that it is there is like you got the gate guard. You talk to everybody. Hey, Sergeant Quick. I call him Sergeant Quick because he was a staff sergeant when he got out and served. That was years ago.
Right.
And then he sees me babysitting at the PX because it's my soccer family. And they're like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Well, I've had a migraine all day." Like, "Oh, well," and then he asked me about, "Are you taking care of that, like the VA?"
Right.
It's like, I have 0% on that.
Yeah.
That's how. I was like, he goes, "Let me make a phone call."
Yeah.
"Hey, Sergeant Major, this is Sergeant Quick. I got a friend here that needs your help."
Right.
It was a simple like day.
It was a simple conversation with another veteran, pretty much.
Yeah, or it could be at Walmart.
Right.
And if someone go first and they're wearing their vet shirt.
Yeah.
Something.
Yep.
And they're like, "Hey, thank you for your service. I serve too."
Yeah.
And that's how the
conversation starts.
I love being in that environment. And I think a lot of people would say that Fort Sill was such a crappy place.
Yeah.
But what did I do? If you ask my children and me and my husband, what's your favorite assignment? And we've been to so many amazing assignments.
Yeah.
But we say Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Wow.
And people think we're crazy but it's the things that happened to us there and the people that we met.
Yeah.
I graduated. I finally finished my bachelor's degree at Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Nice.
I got my ratings up at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And the people there I still keep in touch with. And I only knew them for a year and a half.
Yeah.
So it just, it's cool, like, to meet veterans and a lot. Oh, you know what? There's Sergeant Major or a commander that I knew that can help you with that. That's looking for a guy like you.
Yeah.
And then you job, right? That's the beautiful thing about the military community. Vets and active duty. They just help each other out.
Yeah.
So
I think they build that sense of like serving.
Yeah.
Serving the whole entire time because when you're in the military, you're serving. You might not look at it that way while you're in, but at the end of the day, you're serving. And then when you get out, a lot of people still continue to serve by trying to help their battles out. I just want to thank you for taking the time for doing this, for telling or sharing a little bit about your experience, and hopefully this video inspires some young future veteran coming in the military or somebody that's currently serving now. So I really, really, really appreciate you taking the time doing this.
Well, thank you you didn't make me do it, but I texted you, you didn't respond. I was like, this. And then I called Indy. I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah, because I know it's too easy for you to say no, because you could have just said no and I could have just gave up. But I was like, nope. I know she's saying no because she's nervous.
Please, text messages.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna just be like, I'm calling you at this time. Be ready. And that was it. See, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad.
I don't like disappointing you, especially you. You're like a brother to me, so I'm like,
nah.
Oh, why?
Nah, you can't disappoint me. Nah, it was perfect.
Omar knows so many like badass women out there, and all the people, I'm like, what am I supposed to say? I'm a stay-home mom, but it's like I have to say that I'm a proud, which I am. I'm a proud stay-home mom because so many people are like.